Welcome to another Harry's Hobbies video, and in this one we're going to be doing some windows for the Foscale Models Marshall's Boat and Gas diorama that I'm working on right now. So let's begin. And as you can see in front of me, I have the windows that I'll be working on right now. Now, I did mention that I wasn't going to use the clear plastic that came with the kit, which wasn't altogether true, because I will be using a piece of it for this double window here. But you can see, I don't know if it's easy to see that or not, will be in a minute. This is the clear plastic sheet, and what I like to do with these so that they'll actually hold the colors that I'll be adding to help with the glow of the LEDs is I sand it to rough it up. And I do this on both sides. First I go one way like this, and then I kind of hit it again this way. And this fogs it up and basically ruins, actually it ruins the clear aspect of it, but that's not what I'm looking for. Now we do it on the other side. And again, I do it the other way too, to help fog it up even more. And again, this helps hold the paint when I go to paint it. And then the next step is quite simply really easy. We kind of cut it to fit for the most part. And I'll come back and I'll trim this up a little more after the glue is dried. From the placement of this piece. And it goes on the back side. You can see it's going to hang over the edges quite a bit. But again, we're not too concerned with deadly accuracy with this. And once again, we take some Gorilla Glue. And I put a few droplets onto some of the areas. And I take a toothpick and spread this around so there's not one big glob. And we take the plastic that we just used, just sanded, and just firmly place it into the area that you want to cover. And as you can see, we've gone from a clear sheet to the sanded to this, and we'll trim that up after a bit. Now, to get into the other windows, these guys will all be done using our friend Elmer's glue. And what I do, I use a swirl technique to put the glue into where the panes are at. And we do this quite easily. We put some glue onto the little paint palette here. And we take a toothpick, nothing more than a toothpick, and get a nice droplet onto the toothpick. If I can hold the doggone thing, we'll be in business. And we swirl the toothpick inside the frame until we get it to kind of latch onto itself. Now, the reason I didn't do it with those larger windows is I found that it's just a little too thin after it dries, and it doesn't like to hold paint that well. So we swirl this in. Just that simple. There's one already done, and we set that off to dry for a while. And then we'll do the rest in the same fashion. So what I'll do is I'll speed the video up from here. Well, no, wait a minute. I'm not going to speed the video up just yet. There's a product out there called Crystal Clear that you can purchase that does essentially the same thing as this. But I had a guy many, many years ago show me this trick. And frankly, it's a little cheaper than buying the Crystal Clear. And it pretty much provides the same effect. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about doing something like this. So now we'll speed the video up from here so you're not bored watching the same thing over and over. And there we have the windows with the Elmer's glue. And then we just kind of leave these alone, and I'll walk away for a while and let it dry and come back, and you'll see the end results.
Much later.
After giving ample time for the Elmer's glue to dry on the windows, here's what we now have. I don't know if that's going to be a little hard to see, but the Elmer's glue has dried from its white color to a kind of a foggy tint to it. And we're ready to put the windows into their proper places on the building. And we start by getting them off of the sprue, because these are plastic parts. And I take the snips and start by snipping the windows out of their sprue tree. And be careful not to put a lot of pressure on the glue itself. Because it is kind of delicate, and you don't want to push it out of place. I've done that, and it's a bit of a pain in the butt, but overall it works out pretty good. And then after getting them out, I take the rest of the nibs from the sprue tree and trim them off kind of close. And we test fit each one to make sure it's going to fit in its proper place without too many issues. Because since we did paint, whenever you paint, you're adding a layer of something. And in that case, it's the color. And when you're working in this small of a scale, occasionally that's just enough to get something to not quite fit correctly. I take the X-Acto knife and just shave it down just a hair. And as you can see, this one now fits. So we'll pop it back out. And we get out our reliable. Now, when you're not instant, we get out our reliable Elmer's glue, Gorilla Glue. Now this one, as you can see, it does have a sill on it. And that's going to go on the bottom of the window. Now I put a little bit of glue. And this doesn't take much glue at all to hold these in place because they're not very big. And that wood acts as a pretty good bond for the glue itself. So there we have one window in place. And now I'll go ahead and put the rest of the windows in place. So hang on for that. And there we have our windows added, as well as one door in place. This front door I'm not going to add in till a little bit later on down in the build. But we have the basic windows in place and ready for any coloring that I'll be adding to the back side for the LED to glow through. And I'm not sure exactly what color that's going to be yet, hence the reason for no colors yet. But that's what we have. And once again, I'll be doing a slideshow showing the windows a little closer up to make it easier for you to see what that Elmer's glue technique looks like at close range. So again, the slideshow will follow. And once again, thanks for watching.